Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to another video. Now I'll be honest with you, my heart rate has only just come down after this year's WrestleMania. Congratulations to the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and of course finishing his story. And the utmost respect to the absolute workhorse of WWE in Seth frickin' Rollins, staying true to his word and of course being the shield that Cody Rhodes needed at the most crucial moment in his main event match. And of course, how could we not acknowledge the tribal chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns? I feel quite emotional when I think about the conclusion of this historic reign. I feel really privileged as a WWE fan to have witnessed this historic reign. And kudos to Roman Reigns. None of this would have been possible if it weren't for this genius, head of the table, tribal chief character. And of course, we can't forget about how this historic reign started. Roman Reigns, of course, capturing the Universal title all the way back at Payback 2020, when, of course, he defeated Braun Strowman and The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. He didn't pin The Fiend, though. Let's not forget that. He did not pin The Fiend. But this is where this historic reign started, and I feel it's only appropriate to tie this in with the current video topic in regards to Taylor Rotunda, aka Bo Dallas, and Uncle Howdy, speculating, talking about the potential return to WWE of Uncle Howdy. Now, of course, unless you've been hiding under a rock, you'll be fully aware that there's so much speculation surrounding a potential return to WWE for the character Uncle Howdy. If you watched the Bray Wyatt documentary, you would have seen the teasers at the end. Of course, the Bray Wyatt lantern lighting back up, and of course, the Uncle Howdy figure in the background. And of course, what we can draw from that documentary is the fact that Taylor Rotunda is certainly fired up. His brother was not just his brother, he was his inspiration, his creative drive to go on and be better himself. And I certainly feel that there's this fire that is being lit within Taylor Rotunda, and that he's itching to get back to WWE to honour the legacy of his brother. But not only that, forge his own legacy. And we'll get onto that in a moment because that's very important to remember. Now, obviously, we saw those teasers at the end of the Bray Wyatt documentary, like we mentioned. But on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw, we had some potential links and potential teasers. Also, this very creepy song called Nightbird by Marty Amado played, and it felt very White Rabbit-esque. And it had some very creepy lyrics from within, which I do believe tie in with Taylor Rotunda. Lyrics such as, "I do not know if I should rise or open up these weary eyes. Beneath the moon, how's the demons groan? They come to me and pull me down. My body is cold and I'm all alone. I do not think that I shall rise." This is very telling because Taylor Rotunda is hurting. He feels all alone. The devil sort of is on his shoulder, really, if you like. Lurks in the background, is ready to pull him down into a swamp, and he's not sure whether he's ready to go on and honour the legacy of his brother. And I can totally understand that. And of course, we had that glitch as well in this Bronson Reed segment with the word hello, which obviously we're going to speculate. What does howdy mean, right? There's not a lot to go by at the moment, but of course, post Bray Wyatt documentary, and of course that obvious teaser linking in with this and the timing with this, it kind of does make you feel that the return of Uncle Howdy is going to happen, or certainly the return of Taylor Rotunda. Let's not just assume it's going to be Uncle Howdy because we saw the figure in that documentary tease at the end. Now, going back to what I was talking about in regards to Taylor Rotunda forging his own legacy, I believe that is how Triple H and WWE Creative at the moment is booked. It's what it's all about. It's about a personal journey relating to that individual superstar. And I believe we're going to get a long journey played out in the eyes of Taylor Rotunda fulfilling his own legacy. Yes, he can honour the legacy of his brother in certain aspects, but it wants to be done tastefully, and that's really important to remember. And I think we're going to see this played out. I wouldn't be surprised over time whether we see Taylor Rotunda capture championship gold, like main championship gold. It's going to be a journey that's going to play out for some time, but he's got to find his own feet. He's got to find his own way. He's got to find his own unique characteristics that make him him. But let's face it, you're never going to replicate Bray Wyatt. Wyndham Rotunda was one in a million. He was the colour red in a world full of black and white. You can never change that. He was who he was. So the WWE have got to be very careful that they toe the line between honouring the legacy of Bray Wyatt tastefully, but also making the content original and authentic and personal to Taylor Rotunda. If you get me, I know I sort of rambled a bit there, but it's quite hard to put into words, but I want this to be done tastefully. Of course, if it's going to be done tastefully, how can you involve the Uncle Howdy character? What was Uncle Howdy? Now, we found out from the documentary that Uncle Howdy was actually a character that haunted Wyndham himself in his dreams. And of course, he moved that on to WWE Creative. That followed him on into WWE Storytelling. And of course, that's where we saw the character Uncle Howdy. Of course, originally we saw Uncle Howdy, the ghost in the machine, on the screen, sort of in Bray Wyatt's head, influencing Bray, trying to get Bray to go dark. And then, of course, we saw the physical version of Uncle Howdy portrayed by Bo Dallas himself. And of course, if we go back into the lyrics of the Bray Wyatt Shatter theme, "Lie for me, brother, use me for cover," it seemed very much that Bo Dallas was portraying Uncle Howdy to cover up Bray Wyatt's ultimate lie, which obviously now we know was going to lead to the return of the Fiend. Even though he said the Fiend wasn't going to return, we knew from the documentary, we know now from the documentary, that that was going to be not necessarily the end game, but we're going to lead to this new version of the Fiend, which, by the way, looked absolutely badass. It saddens me that we're never ever going to see that come to life, Wyndham's final creation. Now, from what we saw previous, before WrestleMania 39, it certainly looked like Alexa Bliss was in that Firefly Funhouse. And ultimately, I'm convinced that the Fiend and Alexa Bliss would have reunited one more time. And I'm sure there would have been other characters as part of a potential faction along the way. Are we going to have Uncle Howdy do similar things in regards to getting people to embrace their dark side? Are we going to see Uncle Howdy on the screen, on the Titantron, or are we going to see him physically again with Bo Dallas portraying that? I'm not quite sure how it would work. Personally, if I was booking things, I would like to see Alexa Bliss, Bo Dallas, Braun Strowman, and Eric Rowan together as a faction, as a unit, and explore their own individual personal journeys along the way. I feel that that would be extremely tasteful because these are characters that were very close to Wyndham Rotunda himself. You got two former Wyatt family members in Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan, and of course Alexa Bliss, who Bray described as the last shining piece of that Fiend storyline arc. I'm really not sure how they're going to play this out. I'm really not, which also makes me really intrigued. I'm looking forward to going along this journey. If we're going to get a White Rabbit 2.0 kind of version in the lead up to the return of Taylor Rotunda, potentially Uncle Howdy, then I'm all up for it. And I can't wait to follow this journey. But I'm just interested in the end game. I trust in Triple H, I really do. I think whatever he's going to deliver, whatever Taylor has got brewing, is going to deliver. I just don't want to get my hopes up at the moment because it's still raw. That makes sense? What do you think? Get down in the comments section, share your thoughts and opinions. Thank you so much for watching the video. This is quite a tough one for me to do because I'm still not quite sure about Uncle Howdy returning to WWE as that specific character, knowing what it meant to Bray and the storyline. But we'll wait and see. I'm open-minded, and thank you again for watching the video. It means the world, and we will catch you in the next one.